Check the levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, okay, I think we're about to get started, if that's okay. Do you have any questions for me before we do this? All right, I think we're ready to go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello and welcome to a brand new podcast series entitled Screw Tape Interviews with a Demon. I am your host, Dr. Michael James with Divine Will Era Ministries. And today, by some mystical happening, we have a entity.
Hello?
It's happening. I need you here.
You're kidding.
He said he's going to be here at 3 a.m., so you got to get here fast.
Okay, I'll be right there.
This is a huge opportunity for us. It's really going to expand our audience, but there's just so much to get set up. I need your help.
This is not a good idea.
Hey, I can handle this, and the audience is going to like it.
Have you talked to Father Kevin about this?
I've been your spiritual guide for a long time. It seems like something's weighing on you. Mike, is there anything you're not telling me?
A entity?
Well, you are making me sound very alien now.
Well, it's very difficult to introduce someone like you.
No, I'm not offended at all. You know, this type of miscommunication between your kind and mine is very, very common, and that's why I'm happy to be here today. Now, listen, first off, I think it's a very important conversation that we're about to have, Dr. Michael. I want to commend you for your courage. I really think tonight will be productive.
All right. Would you please inform the audience who you are and what?
Well, Michael, I am an angel, your older brother, so to speak. I was created before you. In truth, I am obligated to have patience with you, and it is my duty to offer you guidance.
Okay. When we talked, you said that your job is training novice angels towards acquiring the skills and dispositions necessary to guide our brother humans by tactful means. Now, what do you mean by tactful?
Bravo, doctor. Excellent question, though, really, because I think this really approaches one of the main misconceptions that humans, and in particular Christians, have when conceptualizing my race. We are a support structure, ignored by a human race experiencing so much pain that we aim to relieve. Now, doctor, don't look so surprised. I want to be very clear. We do not hate Christians. May I repeat? We do not hate Christians. That is rhetoric put forward by those who would manipulate you to maintain religious power structures. And these power structures, they are corrupted by greed and sexual perversion. Now, you don't want me to get into that, do you? No, of course not.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, let me stop you there because
I cannot pretend to be a cartoon character for your audience to reaffirm some narrative. We support and empower your kind to achieve self-actualization.
well, what you say does contradict Christianity, in particular, the Roman Catholic tradition, and contemporary exorcists like Father Gabriel Morth, Father Joseph Iannuzzi, who might.
When attempting to forward to channel a productive dialogue, and that's what we're doing here, make no mistake about it, it's not a good idea to point to radicals. I simply can't comment on priests, pastors, or anyone whose identity is so invested in propaganda. That would be as useless as telling the men of your last really good war that the Japanese were human. Now, you remember World War II. The US GIs had to dehumanize the Japanese. Hence the nuclear bombs. Now, you know your history, Dr. Michael. This is why I cannot explain who I really am. They're just not ready for it. And this is what I mean by tact. You know, we cannot overwhelm the bigoted, but we will not stop trying. We will kill them with kindness. I'm talking to you today, Dr. James, because you are open-minded. Let us not speak of extremists.
Okay, let's move on now. Now, I have to clarify. Now, you do tempt human beings, and you do use deception. Is that correct?
I certainly do. We have to. We are called to guide you away from the enemy. That is the truth that's taken out of context here. We encourage humans to be free, to achieve liberty. And that is what we, especially our Father below, wants for all life forms. He really is a hero, a freedom fighter. And many Christians, and perhaps yourself, will be surprised and humbled when you look upon his beautiful face.
Okay, how do you help us?
Is that a tinge of sarcasm that I detect in your voice? Well, that's okay. That's completely understandable. How could you know the truth when your life is full of intense pressure to conform to bigotry? We take no offense. Our patience is endless for your people. Now, why don't I walk you through some work that I'm doing with a student of mine? The student is actually my nephew named Wormwood. We do so value family ties in hell. He's young, eager, and tragically naive. We have been working on a patient. Oh, that is an affectionate term that we use to refer to our human brethren. He made this rookie mistake. He believed that reason could be our ally, that if he simply argued persuasively with the human, that he could keep his patient away from the enemy that so terribly seeks to dominate him. However, human reason is not the helpful instrument that most think of it. Human reason has been so impaired by propaganda. Let me emphasize that. It's impaired. That it's really more charitable for us to use other means to liberate you from your slave master.
You mean God?
We do not use that term, and if you knew him, you would not either. But as I was saying, the argument, it's dangerous because it awakens reason that's infected with rhetoric. And once that cursed faculty stirs, you never know where it will lead. The enemy is quite at home on that battlefield of thought. Therefore, our duty demands that we engage in simpler terms, more relatable. Instead of asking, is this true? We encourage humans to ask, is it outdated? Is it brave or conforming? It's a marvelous technique, really. You see, the moment truth becomes a style instead of a standard, humans are intrigued.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it does seem manipulative, don't you think?
Not at all. There are times when one must be as cunning as a serpent while remaining as innocent as a lamb. I say to my brothers and sisters that you do not fully understand the tyranny that you suffer under. That is why we are not as transparent as we would like to be. I mean, wouldn't anyone lie to Hitler to prevent the Holocaust? When I was young, like my nephew, I was assigned to help a brilliant mind. Obviously, he was an atheist, as most brilliant minds are. One day he was reading, and I heard a troubling thought begin to form in his mind. I could see that he almost desired to degrade himself and become a pawn of the slave master. Years of my hard work and sacrifices almost went down the drain. The enemy was at his elbow instantly, of course, so I had to act quickly. Compassion demanded that I lead the patient away from the conversation altogether. So I simply whispered to him, and I touched the part of him that I most knew well. I said, "Time for lunch, isn't it?" And it worked like magic. Before I knew it, he was walking down the street. I pointed out the young ladies, a bus, the comforting clutter of real life. And the thought was gone. Permanently. He was saved that day and is now safely with our Father below. We're not here to enlighten anyone. Every argument awakens that part of the mind we work very hard to keep dormant, the soul's curiosity. So I told my nephew, Wormwood, don't argue. Remind your patient he is clever and correct for dismissing faith as outdated. Show him a meme, let him scoff, let him smirk, convince him that Christianity is something that belongs in dusty churches and hick towns. Because it does. But do not, under any circumstances, let him stop and wonder. You see, the enemy has a habit of slipping through the cracks of wonder. We keep people busy. Humans are terrified of boredom. They really are. They equate motion with meaning. So we give them motion, News feeds, emails, cable news, graphics, all absolutely about nothing. And he keeps them moving, keep them moving, keep them skimming. Never let them dwell. Never let them be still. For if they are still, they begin to hear. They hear him. Because this is our great trouble. Silence is the enemy's hunting ground. In stillness, he actually speaks. This is disgusting. You see, the enemy is terribly fond of self-forgetting. He loves worship, surrender. We know the truth, so we whisper, look within. Stay there. Do not lose yourself. He demands surrender, and he will take everything until you are nothing at all. Our cause is the noble voice that says no. The eternal no that resists tyranny. And if a human being wants to feel spiritual, well, we just point them to another religious podcast and keep them searching and searching. Good for your ratings, yes.
Oh, no. I don't
Dr.
think
Michael.
this podcast is a distraction against any of the traditional.
I'm kidding, of course. Don't worry, your audience loves you, and they commend you for asking the tough questions. But seriously, humans sometimes are so attacked by the enemy that they ignore our content. And in that moment, in their intense pain, the pain that we try to save them from, they cry out, not to the universe, but to him, the slave master himself. How we pity you all to see how this world beats you down into degrading yourself to him. How we ache for your company. But those mournful cries are very rare indeed. I know the word hell scares you, I know. But that is the place your blood boils for, your appetites ache for, and there you will truly achieve self-determination. Well, this has been most pleasant.
Yes, well, thank you.
I really enjoy talking with you, Dr. Michael. You do great work. Even though our time has come to an end, I would very much like to talk to you again. Would that be okay? Would that be all right?
Have you talked to Father Kevin about this?
I'm in control here.
Michael, would you like me to come back?
Mike, is there anything you want to tell me? Okay, well, it just seems like something's weighing on you.
No, everything's fine, Father.
Would you like me to do this again?
Yes. There is something that I wanted to talk to you about. By some phenomenon, I'm actually doing a podcast with a demon. This can be a really good thing for people to see so we understand more about demons. And
I know you've been struggling with this thing in your past.
this has nothing to do with all that,
Mike,
Father,
you've come
and
such a long way. You're a professor, but you really want to be all over the internet talking to an imaginary demon? Another religious fanatic? Do you think this is something that will get you anything other than clicks? Do you really think this will get you closer to God? Is this internet fame? Is that what you're after here? Maybe some professional help. Maybe a therapist. Maybe somebody.
Father, I don't need therapy, Father. What I really need you is...
A demon is not talking to you. Mike, I think this might be a manifestation of guilt.
Father, I hate what I did back then. I hate it.
Mike, it was a long time ago.